Hello, everybody. It's Monday, March 16th, 2026. And I'm just going to give it a couple minutes for people to come in. It is a Monday night, so we will see if we can get anybody in here. In the meantime, I'll take a sip of my Bundaberg Diet Ginger Beer from Australia. Let me go to my channel. I'm sitting at my desktop tonight. Let me see. I haven't made my thumbnail yet. We can do that after the show. Let me see. I haven't made my thumbnail yet. Okay. Hey, thanks for the red hearts. I see Kelly Ray. I don't see Kelly Ann yet. That's so weird. Let me bring it up on, and I fixed the chat setting button. I see Kelly Ray. I don't see Kelly Ann yet. That's so weird. Okay, let me turn that off. There she is. It's so weird because let me check the chat settings again because I'm only seeing like half of the messages, and I fixed this. Show every message, including potential spam. Still, that's really strange because on my computer, I can see Rita Close. And I can see Kellyanne said hi, but I don't see it. 5 messages so far. No, I can only see 3. That's so weird. Well, while we're waiting for people to come in, live chat is on. Anyone can participate. Message delay, none. What is live chat summary? Yeah, let me try that. I'm going to go from top messages, and I'm going to go down to all messages. Hey, Daily Cat Paradise. Yes, we'll get into that, Kellyanne. You know, I think that solved it, Kelly. You told me to turn it off and turn it back on, and I think that did it. Let me just look at... Okay. So glad that I'm doing some of these from the computer. Hey, 22 people in. Now it's down to 15. Can you guys please give me a thumbs up? This is April Davis, PI from Los Angeles. It's March 16th, 2026. I'm going to give you the latest on the Nancy Guthrie case. I have to make a correction from yesterday. My title said yesterday that it was day 42. Actually, yesterday was day 43. This is like, YouTube is hard, people. Yeah, and I made an A in math my entire school career. So today is day 44. We're in the second day of week 7. Oh, keep hitting those red hearts. Yeah, I'm just checking. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And let me make sure I've got them all here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we're good. Okay. I found one more piece of note paper. Okay. The FBI is now interested from the neighbors, besides the date that this happened, February 1st, they have now added another date besides the February 1st and the January the 11th, which we've already talked about when the neighbor saw the strange man walking through the neighborhood with a cap pulled down and he seemed out of place. They're also looking at January 24th, which is a week before the Saturday night that she went out to Annie's house in the Uber. And then she was brought home by Tommaso. This is a few hours before she was killed. It's the 31st. But a week prior, specifically Saturday, that Saturday, a week prior to, we know, her last day on Earth, at least at her house, they're interested in that. We don't know why. That's very interesting. They have something, the FBI has something, and they're now going back to some of the same neighbors saying, hey, we're interested in the 24th. Because when this first happened, they were pounding on doors for the night of January 31st and the morning of February 1st. Then they went back and they asked for January the 11th. Now they are focused, they are hyper-focused on January 4th. Interesting. Hi, Garnet. How you doing? Everybody, 27 people watching, only 5 thumbs up. My watch hours are really significantly down this past week. I think people are losing interest in the case. I'm still trying to build up to 4,000 watch hours. I'm very far away from that. If the views don't pick back up soon, I don't think I can make it to the remonetization from the views. Just saying. Also, across the United States now, billboards are popping up on this case. The electronic, digitized billboards. I hear that they've been seen as far away as Houston and as far away as Southern California. I know you guys are probably coming in from different places, but has anybody here seen a billboard in your state? Kellyanne says, you know, there's been a lot of chit chat about the son-in-law. Yes, we will talk about that. I still think that this was a targeted abduction. Notice I say abduction rather than kidnapping. At least 2 people are involved, in addition to the ringleader. This reminds me of the movie Fargo, where the husband kidnaps the wife, but he doesn't do it. He hires the bad guys and everything goes wrong. He still gets the ransom, but she ends up dead. And people from Minnesota to North Dakota get killed because these guys they're criminals. They're stupid and they're violent. Things can go wrong. I will die on the cross on that one, that there's at least 2, possibly 3, at least involved in this crime. I am particularly still interested in the white, or the alleged white Kia Soul that was seen 2.5 miles exiting the neighborhood around 2:30 in the morning at very high speed. There were only 12 cars that went by that house between midnight and 6 a.m., but they timed how far it would be for someone to leave Nancy's house and go, up the hill, instead of coming down into the main part of the town, to take a back route up the hill. You can look at the map and see the map. I think it would take like 6 or 7 minutes, and they were there in like 7 or 8 minutes, but they were hauling you know what. The FBI is now claiming, or the police are now claiming, that, well, we're really not interested in that anymore. I don't think that's true. I think they are interested in that, but it would take a hell of a lot of intel to figure out every person in the state of Arizona that drives a white Kia. Let me know what you think. I see where they are investigating the Sheriff Nanos, says Janet Teague. I haven't heard that. I figured he'll lose his job after all this mess is done. I'm not happy with the job that he's done, but we also don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. But he's too contradictory, and he released the crime scene too soon. And you just can't argue those 2 facts. Also, someone commented on one of my videos in regards to the heartbeat and the pacemaker, trying to inform me something that I already knew, that pacemakers still work even after you're dead. That wasn't the point I was trying to make in whatever video that was. We've talked about this several times. When Nancy was taken, her cell phone and her Apple Watch were left in the house on the nightstand, apparently. And when they took her, and she got so many feet or so many yards away from those devices, that's when the pacemaker stopped syncing. But up until that point, the pacemaker, the app that goes to the doctor's office, it was still working. They can still look back at the records, and they can see that just before the moment like a second before she was taken and it stopped syncing, that her heart rate was still recording. So she did have a heartbeat when she left the house. Hi, I've already seen that. Janet, if it was a burglar, they would take her and not. Why would they take? It's not a burglary. There's no way. And at least 84% of burglaries happen in the daytime when nobody's home. People don't go in and commit a burglary usually at 2 a.m. when somebody is asleep. That's somebody who's really super desperate. Like spur of the moment, I'm desperate, I need my drug fix, I'm going to go in and rob them while they sleep. No, that didn't happen. This was a very planned operation. Now, planned by people that have obviously made mistakes, but a very planned operation. Burglaries typically do not happen in the middle of the night. If it was a takeover robbery, they would have taken things. Apparently nothing is missing, but Nancy's not here for us to ask her to do an inventory of the house. Let me make sure the messages are still coming through. That's so weird. See, I'm still getting messages now online that are not coming across my phone. That is so crazy. Let me try this again. I think YouTube is having some issues. Let me switch it to top and then let me switch it to all. I think it's definitely a YouTube issue because I'm still seeing messages popping up on the desktop that are not popping up on my screen. There they are. And Nancy Grace, they said the blood drops at the front door were from a living person due to oxygenation observed. Yes, that would be true. Because at the front door, I think she still would have been sinking. But once they put her in a car and they drove her away, the signal cuts. It's just like for me, I live in an apartment building with a very long driveway. And I'll be watching something on YouTube that's connected through my Wi-Fi, but I get halfway down the driveway and all of a sudden I lose my signal. And then the iPhone data has to kick in. You know, you don't go very far and things start to separate. But at the door, she's probably still sinking. Although it's a big house. I don't know how close her bedroom and her nightstand is to the front door. But yeah, so for that person who said, oh, well, you know, the pacemaker is still pacing, you know, it's still beating. Yes, it is after they're dead. Hey, humble stacker, welcome in. But they are recording. That's why it's synced to an iPhone and to an Apple Watch and is recorded through the doctor's office, or they can look up on an app there. And they did check all of this because her phone was left behind. Her watch was left behind. And they can also check with the doctor and they can confirm that, yes, the heart was still beating just at the moment that everything stopped. And see, now we're getting it again. I can see Humble's first message on the phone, but if I look at the computer, I can see two. Humble, if you're still here, can you explain why in a vertical live on the cell phone that I cannot see all the messages even though I have fixed the settings to live? This is very upsetting that because people are going to come in and they're going to be like, hey, how come you're not talking to me? I see the hello everyone and I see hi April on the desktop, but I don't see the hi April on the phone. So I'm sorry. So that I don't go dizzy here going back and forth, I am just going to have to, let me try to disconnect and reconnect one more time. I think this is a YouTube issue. But yet if I do this off my desktop and I don't do vertical, they're not going to push this out. So I have to weigh the advantages versus the disadvantages. No, I can't. I have to go vertical because the computer will record me horizontally. And then they won't push this out. YouTube is That's the only way I've gotten my views up, is by going, you know what? If that's what they want now, then that's what they're going to get. And so messages will be, like, I can just see you on the computer where it says, can you just use computer instead? Oh, poop. Like, I can't see that. And now Kellyanne on the computer is saying, what do you think of why they keep talking about the son-in-law so much? I can't see that on my phone. I am so sorry. And I have everything. Let's see. I'll have to research this after the live and find out why I can't see the messages, because unless you want to just see me like this, but I'm looking this way the whole time. But that's, you know, I have a lot of vertigo, so more views vertical, yes, but humble, more messages are coming up on my desktop than on my phone while I'm filming vertical. And I have tapped the setting buttons in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And chat filter, I'm saying all messages. Show every message, including potential spam. But all of them are not coming up. I have to keep clicking and unclicking, clicking and unclicking. So you do realize they have medication for vertigo. Yes, I do, but some of it mixes with my heart medication and I can't take it. It'll tank my blood pressure. So I have to stop. I'm going to have to just close out on the computer, the message section, because it's distracting that they're not syncing with the phone. So if I miss your message, I apologize. I'll have to do some research to see why on the verticals on the cell devices that not all the messages are showing. I thought we fixed that a couple nights ago, but apparently not. It's just like YouTube. Sometimes they unsubscribe people, and people are like, "Hey, I didn't unsubscribe. Did you unsubscribe me?" And it's like, no, like I don't even know how to do that. I don't think I can do that. Let me exit out of it on the desktop. This is so annoying. You know, YouTube. I'm very discouraged with YouTube because the last few days, just when I thought I was doing so well and that I had a chance to eventually get remonetized, now I'm starting to have doubts because there's just, did you do all the software updates? You know, I'll try that, Kelly. After the show, I will make my thumbnail and I'll see if, I'm pretty sure that it is up to date, but that's a very good suggestion because it's definitely, it's glitching, and I do have all of the settings correct now. I'll bring it back up. So discouraging. I'm sorry, everybody, because now I'm losing my train of thought. So we talked about the pacemaker. Even though it stopped syncing, just before it did, her heart was still beating. Now, did she walk out the door or was she carried? I'm not sure. I don't think one person alone could have carried her. I don't think the perp or perpetrators entered through the front door. I think they entered through the back. Now I see that Jay is coming in on the desktop, but I don't see her coming in on the phone. This is so upsetting. So hi, Jay. But if I don't see your messages, it's because not everything is coming to my phone. Yeah, she was definitely alive, but for how long after they took her, I don't know. Because somebody did this for revenge or they did it for money. And if the purpose was just to go in and kill her, they would have just left the body at the scene. So maybe this abduction was sort of a kidnapping, but it was done for money and not necessarily by a stranger because she was specifically targeted. We do know that she was specifically targeted. And I really think that in most cases, when you're either murdered or you're kidnapped or just simply abducted, even without ransom, it's, more than an 80% chance that it's somebody close to you. somebody you know, whether a family member, a next door neighbor, a close friend, somebody from church, someone that works in the home, maybe a vendor or independent contractor that comes to work on the roof or the pool or the yard, the maintenance, the handyman. It's usually not just an act committed by a random stranger. And I'm not happy with the fact that I don't know the financials that the police know. The more I hear, and these are all rumors, but not about the second loan. That is not a rumor. You can look that up. Look up her address. Look it up on Google. There it is. Then these other YouTubers that are a lot bigger than my channel, they've confirmed, according to them, not according to me, that Nancy was behind on her property taxes. And I know through family situations where there are good siblings and there are deadbeat siblings. And sometimes the deadbeat siblings have a tendency to be hanger-oners to mom and be caregivers to mom because they take advantage of mom. And someday, somebody who's as strong and maybe as sparky, or should I even say snarky, as Nancy? I don't think she was snarky, but, she has some spice to her. Even at 84, she wasn't suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's. She can always just say enough is enough, and she could say no. Think about that. Kelly says, I think one person could carry a small, sleepy, confused, because middle of night older woman on lots of meds would be easily carried or guided out. Maybe. It says I have a deleted message. It didn't see that. Usually it's YouTube, Kelly, when things are not working properly. Now I go back to, now I'm going back to the desktop. This video is just it's gonna tank. It's gonna suck. Because I see a message from Charlotte, which has been deleted, and Jay, daughter would have paid that, I would think. Don't need it, the message. Okay. But see, I'm not seeing that on my phone. So once again, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to turn off and I even have it on live chat. Yep. And I can't just keep stopping the video to say, well, hold on. Let me switch to top messages and let's go back to chat filter and go to all messages and see what comes up. See, now the message, like every other message, I have to re-click the settings, and I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, because I'm really tempted just to say, you know what, screw this tonight, and we'll have to come back another day. Now, there has been some updated information about the cameras, and I don't know if they're referring to the cameras that were stolen or broken, or these are other cameras, but they do have, the FBI has thumbnails now taken from a side camera, a backyard camera, and a camera facing the pool the night, well, they think the night of the act, and they don't show anything. Can't confirm that they have the date, but they think they do. And those cameras showed nothing. Somebody really, hi, the humble stacker. Oh, thanks for coming in, somebody. They also, Brian Inton recently interviewed a neighbor that lives very close to her, like very close to Nancy. And they've looked through a bunch of her camera footage on the days that they're interested in, which is, once again, January the 11th January the 11th and January 24th. And the only thing her cameras picked up was the wildlife going through her property, because most of the houses, like Nancy's, sit way deep in. And even houses that could be potentially directly across the street are not going to be able to see the street or what's going on at the neighbor's house. So where are you coming in from, somebody, really? So yeah, that's been updated, that the FBI has been able to secure more footage, but it's not in the form of video. It's only in the form of thumbnails, which are just little squares. They're just stills. They're not video. And those thumbnails did not show any trespassers on the property. It's better than having nothing, but it basically means nothing because it didn't work. You know, this woman obviously needed a completely different security system than what she had. I feel bad for her because she was 84, living alone, and she tried to do this on her own. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, hey, Savannah makes all this money, and how come she couldn't help her mom more financially? The Humble Stacker says, I know from my channel. You know what? The problem with the messages not showing up? Because I can't even look at the computer anymore. I'm going dizzy going back and forth. And the computer's showing way more messages than the vertical live is showing on the cell phone, Humble. So maybe you can explain that to me later. You have my email, aprildavispi@gmail. Yeah, let me know if you understand why. Just look at the computer. Well, then I won't be looking in the camera at you guys. It's still, I'm going to go back and forth. So, and usually I'm not at the computer. I'm just here tonight because my back can't take sitting on the sofa right now. I was sorting a blue box today. Yes, Kelly, I finally got a blue box, and it was full of teeny, 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 tiny pieces. And so it's going to take a massive amount of time to sort it, clean it, test it, decide what's going back, what's being sold, what's being kept, because there must have been 300 earrings in there. It's just, that's why I haven't done my nails yet. I've washed my hands about 20 times tonight. I had to keep washing my hands because that I can even still smell like the jewelry, even though I've washed and washed and washed. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to do my nails yet until all that sorting is done. Also, I wanted to mention, and this made me very happy, and the person did tell me to mention a part of this, but she doesn't want to be shouted out. It was a woman. I did receive yesterday, after yesterday's live, I received an anonymous $5 Venmo, and it was for the Nancy Guthrie case. The person, a woman, said no need for a shout out, but you should mention your Venmo more often. So yeah, people, I do have links on my main channel page. Since the channel's not monetized, if anybody decides they want to throw something at that, she really wanted me to mention that, but she didn't want to be ID'd. And the name that's on the Venmo that I can't say, I don't recognize that name at all of somebody that's coming into my chat unless they're using a totally different username than what their Venmo name is. I think the Venmo name is probably who they really are. But, you know, there's also a lot of people that come in that just lurk, that never type anything into the chat, but yet they come consistently over and over and over because there's way more people watching than people that are chatting. Plus, you know, now that I realized that even with the right settings, I still can't see all the messages. And I'm going to try it. Let's see. Let me look at it one more time. I keep turning it off because it's driving me crazy. I don't expect any thumbs up tonight with this nightmare. I do have the sound turned off so it doesn't like reverb. Just look at the computer, put computer under phone as a teleprompter. That doesn't matter. It's just one day. Maybe I think it's more frustrating to you than the viewer. Wash your hands with lemon juice. It will take away the smell. Thank you. Because I've used actually three types of soap. I've used Dawn, and then I've used the Amazon soap from the bathroom, 2 different scents, and I still can't get rid of that smell. So I'm like, you know what? If I take the time to like do the nails too, and you know, put the makeup on and change my clothes, and it's just like, it'll be 8 o'clock my time, and it'll be 11 o'clock East Coast time by the time I start this. So thank you to the anonymous person who did not want to be shouted out by name for the $5. That will go to the Busted Microphone Fund. Remember last time I did a live from this computer, my leg got tangled up in the cord at the end of the show. The phone after it had gone off the air, it flipped over, hit the ground. Luckily, I didn't lose my phone, but I did lose my Wi-Fi recording equipment. So, yeah, I had to buy 3 different things to fix everything. So, yeah, and these are temporary anyhow. So, thank you for that. That's where it will, any dime that ever comes through this channel, ever, even when I was briefly monetized, it goes right back into the channel. I have never actually made a penny. So, thank you. And for those that eventually send or kind of sometimes send gifts, thank you, because it's something I can actually enjoy and use myself. This is so good. And I still haven't got the all clear yet from the doctor. They should have called me today about the most recent labs. And of course they didn't. And I didn't want to leave a message today because then they'll be calling me during my, 4-hour cardiology appointment tomorrow. So I just decided, you know what, we're going to take a day off from the medical cluster F of my life. Yeah, I don't see, on the computer, you're telling me to use lemon juice, but it's not coming up on the phone. But if I go back to the settings and I go from top message, go off, go on, back to all, and now it comes up. So for every message that you guys send, if the labs were bad, they probably would have called. No, because when I needed my kidney surgery, I had to read my own reports and keep bugging them to set up the surgery because nobody bothered to fucking call. Excuse me. Shouldn't have said that. Very frustrated. Yeah. The last couple days have been tough. I've had mistakes on here. I've had to take videos down. Kelly, you thank you for putting up with me with all those texts last night. It took 3 hours not to get my dinner delivered. I finally did get my money back. That's the good news. And then I was very, very thrilled that, I got $5, but I'm not using that for the dinner fund. I'm using that for the YouTube fund. What a day. Now, somebody said here earlier tonight, I think it was Kellyanne Sullivan, if she's still here. She mentioned that there was a lot of news today about Nanos, also known as Sheriff Chris Nanos. What is that news? Let's talk a little bit about Sheriff Nanos. I don't like the way he's handled the crime scene, and I don't like the way he gives contradictory information because I'm a real stickler for the timeline. I want to have clarification of that timeline as far as when the lady from the church, who wasn't actually in the church but was calling from her house to say, hey, she didn't show up to watch the church service. At what time did they call? I presume it was Annie. And at what time did Annie and Tommaso drive to the house? And at what time after they got to the house and realized something was wrong, at what time did they call the police? At what time did the police arrive? We know it wasn't until the next day or the day after that the FBI was called. And by that time, the crime scene, within 20 hours of the police originally arriving for what they thought was just a missing persons, it had already been released, even though they were already treating it as a homicide, which is super rare. She probably got frustrated, me not being able to read her messages. What is the situation with Nanos today? Has anybody heard anything? The last I saw of him, he was telling everybody on a press conference, or it wasn't really a press conference. He just went on and made a statement and said that everybody, you need to watch your backs now because people are in danger. Where before, at the beginning of this crime, nobody was in danger. This was an isolated incident. Why did he say that to begin with? He didn't think anybody else was endangered. Obviously, he knows something we don't. And then I was going to mention before all this stuff happened with the computer that for those that are knocking Savannah for like, oh, well, she makes $8 million a year and how come, she didn't pay for her mother's subscription? I mean, she might not have even known about that. I'm sure the mother didn't realize that she needed a subscription. But like I said earlier, if Savannah were to give her mother money for expenses, knowing that there may be other people in the family that obviously don't have that kind of money, and maybe based on past scenarios, maybe she's not offering money to help her mom while she was still like living in the house, because she knows that that money would end up in somebody else's pockets. And I'm very familiar with that situation. Successful child or children, in their case, and someone who isn't as successful, who can't compare, but is left feeling that they need to do the caregiving because they need something from the parents. It happens all the time, especially when people get old. I do cases or did cases like that all the time involving senior citizen abuse. And most of the abuse either comes from people in nursing homes, assisted living homes, or more likely people from their own family. So sometimes, the successful person, just has to say, no more funds. But most people don't have $8 million a year in salary. And most people aren't going to be willing to take a threat of harassment about, well, if you don't have the money, you could go put it on your credit card and, we'll pay you back. Because people that don't work, that don't have any income, they have no ability to pay things back. So I kind of feel that the mom, before all this happened, even though it may have nothing to do with her abduction, it may have nothing to do with her disappearance or kidnapping or murder or whatever's happened to her, I think because of her own bills, I think she put her foot down recently and went, no more, no more. No more money, no more handouts. Brooke Whitman. See, I have been wondering if they looked hard enough into the sister and her husband. Well, the FBI was at her house for a very long time. I'm waiting to go to the cardiologist tomorrow, Boston Bill, but thanks for asking. Haven't heard anything from the other doctor from my labs. Don't see your message coming up. We are having a problem tonight, Bill. I have all the settings correct on my vertical live, but I'm not able to see all the messages on my phone. So I'll apologize to everybody in advance if I don't respond to your message. It's because I'm not able to see it. Unless I go like this and look over at the computer. And Brooke over on the computer says, we do keep you in prayer. Thank you. But you know what? I've got to turn this off. It's making me dizzy. And I do suffer from horrific vertigo. And they think that, well, I think based on research, that's all because of the massive amount of medication that I'm on. It's because I've already seen the ENT, and it's not in my ear like it used to be. It's behind the ear, which is something that's pressing on my brain. And I've already had 2 head CAT scans in the hospital, and they didn't see like any tumors in there. Because believe me, when you're a cancer patient and you go, oh, I have a really bad stomach ache, or I've been really sick lately, or I'm having problems with my lungs, or I'm having strange headaches, or I'm having vertigo, you're into the CAT scan again. Every time you're in that emergency room, chest x-rays and CAT scans. There's only so much radiation a person can take, and I'm already way above my limit. And the emergency room doctors, when they prescribe the vertigo medication, they don't understand that some of it cannot be taken by people that are on the heart drugs that I'm on, because it will plummet. It will dangerously plummet the blood pressure. But thank you for the recommendation. Whoever recommended that, I can't see that message anymore. So, I'm just going to, I'm just going to have to go back to doing it on my sofa. I will update my YouTube tonight, Kelly, if that's it. And I will type that into like a Google, like I'll just ask Google a question and say, hey, how come, I'm not able to see all the chats when doing a YouTube live vertically. And I could switch to horizontal, but I'll have like 2 or 3 people a show. Yeah. So let me go over to the channel dashboard. The current subscriber count is 2,082. Never thought I'd get that far. The one thing that shows on my phone, let me see, I have to click a different button on the desktop. Okay, I am up to 2,886 valid public watch hours in the last 365 days. And they're saying that obviously I need 4,000. I already have the 1,000 subscribers, so that's not a problem. But I need one of the following, either 4,000 watch hours or 10 million short views. And guess what? Short views, you can watch my shorts all day long. They don't count for watch time. Not at all. Unless I got like, they don't even count hours. They just count views. So someone could put my short on loop and play it 1,000 times a day. Won't do anything. Unless you play it 10 million times, it won't help. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Now, when I first got monetized, they had a lower tier of 500 subs plus 3,000 hours to get at least the super chat tab. I briefly had that for like a month. I think I may have got one or two during that time. Yeah, it just, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that again. It's not showing that as an option because I'm pretty close to the 3,000 mark. But they also count this 5 days behind. So it's only showing data through March 11th. And I've looked at my hours since then, and I'm only getting like a few hundred people in now per live. Whereas just a few weeks ago, I was getting a few thousand, like between 1,000 and 3,000 per live. And then a lot of people were watching the videos on the replay. But now I'm getting like a couple of hundred per live because people are just, people are moving on. They're either sick of listening to me or looking at my, my yellow teeth turkey neck and my bad hats, or they're just not interested in this case anymore. But for those who are still watching, I thank you. You mean the absolute world to me. You guys are my family. That's all I can say. Let's try this one more time on the computer. Let's see. Let's try it one more time. See how many messages I must have missed. Oh, see, I didn't even see that Desane had come in because Desane, it's not showing on my phone. From Warren, Ohio. Welcome, Desane. Kelly is coming in from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Feel free to type your location in the chat. I am in Los Angeles, California, in the very famous San Fernando Valley. Yep, I'm a valley girl. Although I don't look very girly when I'm wearing my hat like this. I'll say it again, what Brooke said. I have been wondering if they looked hard enough into the sister and her husband. I think they've spent more time looking at the sister and the husband's house and car than they looked at the actual scene of the crime. Jay on the computer says Indy. On my phone, doesn't show it at all. It's terrible that like every 2 seconds I'm going to have to go top, chat filter, all, and there it shows up. So for every new message that comes, every new person that comes in, I am not seeing your messages on the vertical live. And if, as Kelly suggested, if I do this horizontally, YouTube will refuse to push it out because they want vertical lives now. And I looked at my analytics. That's where most of my watch hours are coming. And I've seen people from Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, Germany, India, Brazil, Canada. Don't get any of that on the horizontals. It just doesn't happen very often. It is what it is. Kelly says, I just got notified there is a new update for tonight on my iPhone. A new update on Nancy Guthrie or a new update on the YouTube app? I will do that. But I think this is a YouTube issue. And some people get really upset, like, hey, she's not answering my messages. Goodbye, F you, goodbye. So I'm sorry. And I do like 99% of these on the phone, not sitting at the computer. I'm just sitting at the computer tonight for a little bit more back support. I did those, but you didn't get all the money. Better to get the money on Venmo. Yeah. And you know what? I'm sure there's still money sitting in the account that they took away when I very quickly got demonetized for something that they wouldn't tell me exactly what I did, because they said when I come back, I could try to circumvent the system. Like, no, I'm trying to fix, what did I do? And had they just told me, then I wouldn't have had to delete videos, which I should have never done. I should have just privatized them so that I could at least have kept my watch hours. But I basically just cleaned house and went delete. And then afterwards, I looked at my watch totals and I was like, oh my God, I just deleted almost all my watch hours. And there's no way to get it back other than just keep making the videos. So I would take the 3,000 one with that tab, because some people ask for it, but it doesn't really help. I'm hoping that if I ever do, which now I'm starting to think it may not happen. Yes, that sounds negative. I was so positive, but the last week it's been awful, the views. And for every day that they add a few hours, they giveth and then they taketh. A little give, a lot of take. So if I had a video like a year ago that got like 100,000 views, well, that's going to fall off eventually. So for every extra day that they say, here's the new day, 5 days behind, they're only up to the 11th right now. We just took off the 11th from last year. So I lose, I gain, and then I lose. So I have to be getting more views on this day than I got a year ago on this day. And then I have to wait 5 days for those to count, because they have to make sure that they're real and they're not bots or fake. Or that they're not like from a promoted video, because if you promote a video, it can definitely help the subscriber count, but the views don't count. So I wouldn't recommend anybody, if you're trying to build up your YouTube channel, don't even bother promoting your videos. So I will check. Now you've sent 4 more messages, Kelly, that are not on the phone. Family, Eagles friends who are family, yes. Jay is in Indianapolis. It's not a problem on this end, not annoying to us. I wasn't saying horizontal, I was just saying the computer and stay focused on that. Yeah, I got to look at this though. I got to see the timer. I got to see how many people are in, see the thumbs up. I got to see the red hearts. So sorry, people, if I'm skipping your messages. I'm just not seeing them on the vertical. And I do have the settings 100% correct. But we'll have to research if that's a problem lately. Like sometimes the audio doesn't work, and it's not my mics. It's a YouTube glitch. Because then I'll use that same mic next time and it works just fine. It is what it is. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of update. I do know that some of the big YouTubers like JLR Investigates and Brian Enton, they all left Tucson yesterday and they flew back home to Florida. Brian made a video today from his house saying he's still going to follow the case, but excuse me, he was gone for 42 days. I'm starting to lose my voice from doing these. Yeah. Haven't heard anything from JLR today. He's probably collapsed in his bed or doing his laundry or something. And it's kind of a good thing those guys aren't there right now, although Brian Enton did say he would be returning in the future. It's going to be over 100 degrees in Phoenix or Tucson. Well, probably Phoenix too, but in Tucson, where they've been, reporting from, it's going to be over 100 degrees. So it's going to be close to that, if not that, tomorrow in LA, the day that I'll be walking a long distance with my cane from the parking lot to the medical office. It's going to be super hot. I didn't even order anything from Amazon today because I don't want it to arrive while I'm not here and it either gets stolen or it melts in the heat. So I'm like, oh, I can't order that today. I can't order that today. It'll get heat damage. Does anybody else know anything? I think Kellyanne is not here anymore. And she wanted to say that there was a lot of information coming from or about Nanos today. Does anybody know what that is? Has anybody seen one of the Nancy Guthrie electronic billboards in their state? I wonder who's paying for that, because those are not free. Who's funding the billboards? Is it the family? Is it the feds? Wouldn't be Pima County. There's no way they could get approved for that financially. Oh, 15 thumbs up, 17 people watching. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the red hearts tonight. Oh, this is going to be a really sucky replay with all these problems. I kind of don't want to keep going because I can't see all the messages, and so people are getting mad and they're leaving. I'm not seeing the massive amount of people come in anymore. Even the lady that Brian Enton interviewed, and he played that interview today, the lady's like, excuse me, she's like, well, I'm kind of glad that it quieted down just for a while because I needed a break. Losing the voice. I got to keep it to a point because I need to discuss everything tomorrow with the doctor. And I'll have about 10 minutes to do so. Because we're going to have to readjust a lot of the meds and start back on some of the meds so I don't have a stroke. Yeah, totally losing my voice now. Not sick, though. Just my voice is burned out. Yeah, there's like nobody out there in the neighborhood now. Like nobody's out there. Oh my God. Well, considering I don't have a voice and I can't see all the messages, I think it's time to sign out early tonight. We've talked about everything I was going to talk about. So thank you for coming. I'll talk to you soon.